We've just seen France and Italy duke it out in epic combat here on this third play day of the European Nexus games, and next to follow are Belgium and Denmark. Two teams that are probably going to face each other on a very similar level. Both teams unfortunately weren't able to win their first series of this tournament, so the upcoming one is going to be even more important.
Absolutely, it is. Belgium put up a fantastic fight versus Germany in their first play day, and we still have a lot of faith in Denmark, especially due to the leadership of Youngback.
Absolutely. So if we hadn't seen day one and we were coming to this matchup, we'd be expecting Denmark to be the favored team. Yep. But given how Belgium performed and how Denmark underperformed so hard against Hungary, I believe, then questions are being raised.
And the thing is, I've talked to some of the players from Team Denmark because I'm good friends with some of them, and Nyman in particular was heartbroken after that first loss because he felt he was the one responsible for it. So I think for Denmark to come back swinging in today, they're going to have to boost their morale again because they lost their first series, very unfortunate, against a surprisingly strong Hungarian team.
I've also heard the whispers that Denmark took that loss really hard.
They did.
But
they really did.
On their side, they have Youngback, the renowned coach who's been doing it for almost 2 years and only recently become a player. So it's definitely going to be on him to get them back on track and get them refocused on this series.
A coach actually sometimes will experience from the outside the issues that a team will find of potentially getting tilted or potentially taking a loss harder. So he is going to have a little bit of that extra knowledge when it comes to helping his team deal with that.
On the other hand, we have a Belgian team who, on paper, had a lot of promising talent. I mean, we have players like Rabio, who is a legendary support player in the Hero League Grandmaster range of Europe. And for them not being able to take a win against a quote-unquote weaker team known as Germany, that can't feel good either.
Yeah, it has to be disappointing, but both of these teams were disappointed.
Very.
So in terms of how they match up, it's going to be interesting to see if one of them bounced back really hard or one of them continued that descent.
So unless we see some surprises in the rest of the bracket, this also decides who still has a chance of going through. Because 2 losses, unless everyone else gets 2 losses and you end up with a wonderful circle, it's going to be very difficult to make your way out of the group with that.
And all of a sudden, things look very weird in Group B, with Germany being able to win, Hungary coming out of nowhere, and the 2 teams we kind of expected to make it to the tip-top of the table find themselves at the bottom. So how important is this upcoming matchup?
It's definitely important. It's probably going to determine which of these teams has a chance to make it out, but it's hard for both of them.
Yeah, Tetcher, who's actually going to make it? Like, is there any favorite you can make out just by looking at the past performance? Like, both teams went down, but which team went down more convincingly, if you will?
Denmark, like you said, they weren't happy with their own performance, but that does give you the impression that they potentially feel they could have played better. Whereas Belgium, they put up a wonderful fight versus Germany, but Germany ran very similar, and in one case, potentially less than optimal strategy against Belgium, and Belgium still lost. So potential lack of adaptability, thanks Brain, could be a bit of an issue there for him.
I'm definitely favoring Denmark in this matchup. I think even though they did lose against Hungary, and that was unexpected, the 2 games were close. In one of them, there was a 10% core where a lot of things could have gone differently for them, and they could have taken that game.
That was very insane. So long story short, I think if Denmark manages to find a way to play a little bit more crisp, a little bit more clean, they should really have good chances of making it. On the flip side, though, Belgium, they need that victory. One more loss, and it's almost a guaranteed lights out here in the group phase.
Exactly. Both teams could use any victory they can. Both teams have come close to winning their individual matches on day one. So we could have a very exciting matchup on our hands because at the moment it's looking like this entire group is fairly evenly matched.
And let's throw it over and take a look at which battlegrounds were banned in this upcoming best of 3. Once again, Blackheart's Bay is allowed, Haunted Mines is allowed. The fans were able to vote before this tournament even started. So far, we have yet to see one of those quote-unquote wonkier maps.
And we're not going to anytime soon by the looks of it, because Warhead Junction, our newest addition to the map pool, is instantly banned out by Denmark.
Towers getting banned as the second map, and there seems to be a little bit of hate in this tournament.
That's becoming a surprising staple, honestly, of the map pool. Is one team's banning Towers of Doom.
Yeah. We could potentially see Blackheart's Bay or Haunted Mines for the first time, but Not this time. I'm very sorry. It's going to be Infernal Shrines.
Infernal Shrines it is. We just saw a fantastic match there, and we're heading back there again.
Yeah, I mean, Punishers are good for you. It allows you to build up a nice strategy. It allows you to feel comfortable on the battleground. And we could really see how an early lead must not always mean that you got the victory banked up. Infernal Shrines is probably one of the least snowbally battlegrounds you could possibly imagine in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, there is always a bit of that element of if you get an early game advantage, that you are always one step ahead because the Punisher is not strong enough by itself to make up that structure disadvantage. So it doesn't snowball, but it can heavily tilt the odds and keep that game running for a long time, but still give the advantage to the early dominating team.
Absolutely, and
yeah, you're both talking about snowballs, and Genji is the first removal here.
So I've got a question for you guys. How come we never, or very rarely, get to see a Greymane ban when he's such a dominating factor in those bans? In those drafts, sorry.
I think it's difficult. I think the thing about Greymane is that he always feels like a fair hero. There was never a situation where you're like, wow, Greymane just did something insane there that really annoyed me. Whereas Genji, obviously, he dashes everywhere. He's got protected. He's got another dash. You know, Genji's very frustrating. Tassador's very frustrating. Greymane, much easier to lose against, I think.
Definitely true. So you can get punished much harder. Now, we take a look at the votes. One of my most favorite features here during the European Nexus games. Let your voices be heard and vote for your favorite team. If you're from Denmark, type in #DKWin to support your team. If you're from Belgium, let your team know that you are with them by typing #BEWin. And the Rhaegar, no surprise at this point, followed by his wolf brother.
We're developing a surprisingly standard meta of ETC Rhaegar Greymane being the first lead picks.
And sometimes sometimes we've seen the Greymane be the one to be swapped out, but overall it is these three heroes getting significant more pick time than the others.
Definitely true. On the other hand, we see the good old mighty cow, ETC, being locked in. Now, one hero has disappeared surprisingly from the meta of this tournament thus far, and that is Uther.
Yeah, that is quite interesting.
I think we saw at least one, didn't we?
It's still not a lot if you compare.
Yeah, no, he has dropped off a surprising amount. The interesting thing is, I believe that might be because, as we spoke about a lot, this tournament is the bridge between Hero League and the top flight of competitive. Well, Uther is a not very good hero in Hero League. He very often struggles with sustain, he struggles with team coordination, but in competitive, he's a staple. He's very strong, especially when paired with these high-impact picks like ETC and like Greymane.
Definitely true. But we see a little bit of voodoo magic in here.
Uther.
Well, I mean, sometimes maybe that was the secret voodoo ritual we needed to summon him.
Say his name 3 times and he shall appear.
Well met. Here I am.
Yeah, just face the mirror. Well met. Well met. Well met. And the Zebo appears as well for some reason. But yeah, Belgium very much relied on that Zebo in all of their first day matches, and they're very happy to bring it out again.
Not sure how I like them bringing it out again. They were not successful. While the Nozebo pick itself did seem to be doing a lot, they were not successful with it.
Yeah, true. And all of a sudden, it is up to the Danish team to maybe, you know, copy a couple of strategy points from the German team, who eventually found a way to counter the Nozebo. As you said, Bakery, they used it multiple times against Germany a couple of days ago. It only worked once.
I think the Danes have hit the nail on the head here. The Kerrigan was the only thing that the Nozebo was paired with and looked oppressively strong with. So they just take it out. It's Infernal Shrines as well, which is the map where they played it. So I like that ban.
There's no reason not to. Like you said, it had all of that past success, and it's just Kerrigan's best map. There is no reason that that is a bad ban in the slightest.
Exactly. If there's one lucky punch that the enemy team could pull out to, you know, get you out of the ring, just ban it before it's too late. Super good.
So Belgium, what are we going to see from their side? Denmark don't have any tanks yet, so potentially focusing on that as they already have the ETC for themselves. Potentially banning out one of those AoE damage dealers, like potentially the Lunara, who could sneak in and has been known as a long-term counter to Uther, and Malthael for very similar reasons.
Yeah, the Malthael was actually Germany's wonder weapon, if you will, in that game number 3, and Belgium felt almost completely helpless against that pick, and banning it away to not commit any unnecessary risks seems like a good plan to me.
Yeah, some small adaptations. So Uther being picked up much earlier than ever before, just to make them much more safe against dive, which was what they were struggling with against Germany. Banning out the mouth there as well, who absolutely steamrolled them on that Volskaya game.
Absolutely. Now, what is a nice addition to what we see from the Danish team up to this point? They lack a main tank.
Yeah.
Warriors definitely need it. They could also still need someone on that solo lane because...
Oh my. Now, this is obviously one of the... opens up for one of the deadliest combos in the game, but we have been seeing Stitches even with other combos going with Putrid Bile, which will still do okay here. It's AoE damage over time, which is going to give Uther a pretty rough situation to deal with.
The one concern I do have is that are Denmark going to commit, and are they going to pick something like a Falstad next to actually split the team up and force Belgium back? Because if not, it's Uther. He is the only support that can actually save anyone from that combo with the range that he has on Divine Shield.
Absolutely true. Now, what does the Danish team need to add to that to really make that Medivh shine? Is it going to be another support, or is it going to be another damage source?
Yeah. Bakery already mentioned the Falstad, a good hero for separating the team. If they'd be potentially short on damage if they went for something like Brightwing, who's another good hero for separating the
support,
team. Yeah.
That seems a bit too much to me.
Are we classifying Medivh as a support now?
Pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Speaking of supports, it is going to be Ana coming in. So it's double support Valor here. And Ana, with the anti-healing, it doesn't work as well against Medivh, who doesn't give healing, he gives protection, which could be acceptable. But with the Sleep Dart, if
the Sleep Dart is what I'm interested about.
It could be crazy. With Gorge or Putrid Bile, the Sleep Dart is one of the best and most effective tools.
Definitely true. The Sleep Dart is going to be a nice weapon to have against the lineup from the Danish team. Keep in mind, though, we've seen this weird antagonism between Rhaegar and Ana yesterday. Countering and ancestor healing entirely can be game fight deciding.
Very, very true. There is a slight chance of anti-synergy here with the Nazeebo spiders potentially waking up the slept target.
Definitely an issue.
Or Toad.
We are seeing Nazeebo going for a more Toad build, so as long as it's timed well enough after the Toads have exploded, the damage over time from the Toads will not wake up a sleeping target, whereas the immediate damage from a spider will.
So they do not commit to an isolating target.
No.
So while the combo looks scary at first, this is something that Belgium do have the tools to deal with. Arthas is a solid pick, though. It's very strong against a solo frontline like the ETC that Belgium do have.
I would have actually thought about a Diablo here, potentially. Applying a little bit more early game rotation power. Huge wombo combo potential with the Medivh. But Arthas, as you said, still very scary in those shrine battles.
He really is. He has great control. He's good zoning, and he might not be isolating, but like we said, he has roots, he has slows. He is going to prevent heroes like Uther from getting in range if it is a Gorge comp that we are looking for. And if not, it's extra slows. They can have the Putrid Bile and the Arthur slows, which can really give Greymane time to get his work done and put heroes like the Nazeebo out of position.
I think it's the first Medivh of this entire Nexus Games tournament, Bakery. So how comfortable are you with a pick like that? Because it requires a lot of team synergy and a lot of experience.
Medivh requiring team synergy, I think, is slightly overblown. It requires a few games, sure, to get it down, but if your player knows how to play it in a team, that's what really matters. And we've seen examples like this of Roll20. They weren't great at playing Medivh, but Glaurung himself brute forced it into their hero repertoire. It became 100% ban-worthy for them. The same thing happened with ADRD in Team Expert, actually. So I am entirely confident that if Denmark have put their work in, their Medivh can really perform.
And if you take a look at the votes here, it's almost dead even. 52 to 48 in favor of the Danes right now. And it really couldn't get any closer. Any last thoughts about this upcoming Game 1?
I'm looking at Denmark, and I've got a good feeling about it. I think they've got it.
Tetcher.
The wildcard potential of Stitches can always be a threat, especially against the anti-mobile heroes of Ana and Nazeebo. Sleep Dart could be the game changer, though, but for now, I'm also leaning for Denmark.
All right, let's get right into it. Team Belgium is going to face Team Denmark on Infernal Shrines.
And spawning on the left-hand side is going to be Team Denmark, with Youngbeck on Arthas, Nyman on the Greymane, Dizzy Dwarf on the Stitches, Dreamy on the Owl, aka the Medivh here, and Valnod is playing the Rhaegar.
And in the reds, we've got the Belgian boys here with Enabler playing the Nazebo, Lenfield on the Vala, Rabio plays the Uther, Taluf is on ETC, and Lenfield, that's going to be a hero or a player I'm looking very forward to watching, because I think we didn't give him enough. Heise, by the way, we can't forget about him on that Ana. But Lenfield is an exceptional ranged assassin player, and he looked very good against Germany, whereas it was Enabler who fell off a little bit. He started off extremely strong on that Nazebo, but to
Heise!
Okay.
We can't forget about him, and neither did Denmark, able to find the first hook, and they immediately ported out of any dangerous scenario.
And you know what? I think that move was probably called by Youngbeck. That is not a play that you just do in Hero League all day, every day. That is a play that well-organized teams will do in competitive play. They know all those hidden secret spots where Stitches can hook over or past walls, and that was so well done.
It's the kind of play that you don't expect, because
exactly. Nobody does it.
Yeah, you do it once and it's never going to work again. But now is the time. If you're going to bring out that kind of sneaky strategy, if it works, cool, you get a kill. If it doesn't, you portal out. And that's the joy of this team comp by Denmark here.
Yeah, we talked about Team Denmark feeling a little bit demotivated, feeling a little bit heartbroken after that first tragic series they had to endure against Team Hungary. And now, getting first blood, having a good early game is going to be really, really crucial to make them rolling, to make them feel very smooth in that first game.
And with the momentum already on their side, it's only a tiny amount of XP, but it's momentum.
It feels damn good.
It feels real good to get that first blood kill. I actually remember one of my first ever games of Heroes of the Storm on Cursed Hollow, the horseshoe, getting a group of people together, have someone stand at the other end of the horseshoe and getting that hook. That's the kind of level of satisfying we can talk about, especially when it is in a tournament like this.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of talent builds, we don't see any big surprises at all. Medivh is going for a portal build, allowing him at level 13 to always have them up. No real cooldown anymore there. Standard cocktail build, and Stitches going for the good old slam. Pandemic, the frog toad build at this point, not really a surprise anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, young voodoo disciples out there, the time of the spider is gone. It's the year of the toad.
That was an amazing just couple sentences there. I could not have put it better.
Sometimes the voodoo
takes over you.
And I want to spread the wisdom.
But who do you voodoo? That is the question, as we do see the Belgians here taking over this center area to try and start off on the objective.
Very interesting level 4 talent choice here once again for Nazebo, going for the Blood Ritual. Normally, due to the scaling changes, it is the big voodoo almost every single time, because you become a tanky, fast beast. But look at the early aggression coming in from Denmark.
The portal engage was good, but Taluf with the multiple person stun to turn it round, and the anti-healing grenade forces the portal-based retreat out of Team Denmark. It was a good attempt, but good reactions from Team Belgium.
Absolutely true. The portals are hard to deal with sometimes, but if you do not take too much damage yourselves, it's going to be just fine. And Uther, Rabio, doing so much work. Keep in mind, the 15 armor he provides is still a solid boon in team battle. And Heise, untouched, dealing so much damage, so much healing, excuse me, from a safe distance. In the meantime, though, shortcut, and poof, they are gone. Quick execution here, quick ambush on the backline.
They do lose the objective, but like you said, very nicely done. Valor was being forced out, and Medivh decided to go into the backline. He showed up alone. Valor's like, I can take this and move past you, but she moved past the portal. That immediately followed Arthas and one other, and they were able to take Valor down.
And that is the beauty of a good Medivh play in such a competitive environment. One call, portal's out, guys. Let's all hop in and go for a nice ride. And poof, a second later, the Vala goes down.
Very nicely done indeed by Team Denmark. For now, though, they are playing a little bit safer. And like we said, they did lose the objective. They cleared up the Punisher quite quickly, though, taking minimal damage.
Yep, definitely true. We also see a little bit of a build deviation here from Linfield, going for the multi-shot build. No errors here. Definitely prefers the AoE damage, the AoE zone control over individual target damage.
And I quite like this, combining it with the Toads. Their entire objective is not to kill one hero at a time, it's to kill everyone in one go, which is going to be very fun to watch for starters. So we will see if they can keep it up. If they can do this, ETC is going to be a good hero to assist this. The anti-healing, huge AoE damage is the name of the game here.
Yeah, definitely true. And we're going to have to also observe Taluf and Enabler, the ETC plus the Nazeebo, how they can play together. Because oftentimes, when you play Nazeebo and ETC knocks everyone back just away from your Toads, that could be quite frustrating.
Cappy's that hook on Heiser, drops the heal buff on his team, so he is able to sustain through quite nicely.
Yeah, definitely true. And Ana plus Uther, they synergize so well together. It is always nice, like when you play double support, it's not a no-brainer. You definitely have to have a philosophy behind it. And ideally, the two supports will complement each other in terms of healing style. One going for more sustained healing from afar, and the other one going for strong individual burst healing against hardcore engages.
And Ana going with the mind-numbing agent here, and this actually works better than it looks initially, because Stitches is basically all ability power damage here, as mind-numbing agent reduces spell power. Arthur's taking that frozen waste down at level 4. Once that's fully stacked, it's going to do a lot of damage. So being able to consistently, whoever Ana hits, get some value from that is going to be huge.
Absolutely. No, as you said, Tetra, you basically summarized it wonderfully. No matter who she hits, it's always going to have value. Medivh, once he collects the Medivh, the Massive Touch, excuse me, it's also going to cripple his damage output tremendously. Heiser, though, this time the right target to focus on.
And Nyman able to finish off that kill. Valnod, though, is taken out in exchange, as we see the health bars, though, of Denmark dropping down, but it might be enough as they're already able to drop down a few members, but no, it's Taluf, the only one alive, the only survivor, as Denmark were able to push through Belgium there with their own very high AoE damage.
And everybody jump on the Danish pain train, because they just steamrolled over their Belgian opponents. Nyman on the Greymane doing so much damage. They were basically just lined up like on a silver tablet. It was wonderful to observe.
And I was too pessimistic, it seems, about this comp, because we do see the Gorge coming in from Stitches. The combo is ready. We do not have that kind of isolation like Baker was calling about from Falstad or Brightwing, but maybe Arthur's can be enough to hold the line, and if not, the portal range, just the portal, the extra movement they can go. They've already used it through the portal. Can they get the kill? It's not Uther, and Rabio goes down.
Feels good to have that first portal Gorge combo at the ready. It hit Uther, and keep in mind, normally focusing on Uther early on can really fire back heavily, but if there are no allies to protect him, and if there's no further team fight going on after, well, that's just a wonderful kill.
Yeah, so they do actually have tools to do this. They have the portal to escape, and even in the lack of the Mighty Gust, they have Arthur's for zoning, like we said, and of course, the option for Ley Line Seal, if anyone is to chase in. But now Belgium, they have their 10s. We have that Nano Boost Gargantuan, Nazeebo Gargantuan, very fun, and Nano Boost Valor Multi-Shot is exceptionally effective.
True. That's a wonderful point. Two very profitable, lucrative targets, if you will, for Nano Boost to be landed on.
Tries to juke Enabler, but he runs into the root and will get taken out. And the portal is used for most of the heroes on Team Denmark here to escape.
Oh, Taluf wants revenge. He gets the triple moshpit, though!
Even Medivh pops out of his bird form to try and help his ally here. Gets caught in the moshpit. Arthur is like Ancestral Lands, and it looks like they all survive. It was a 3-man moshpit, but Ana didn't have enough damage, and no one else was in range.
Belgium just threw everything at their opponents they have had available. The Nano Boost, the Nazeebo damage, the Mosh Pit, everything was ready to take them out. It was a beautiful triple-man stun, but in the end, the damage wasn't there quickly enough. And Medivh, he's going to be the laughing Birdman, protecting everybody with those shields and the portals, most importantly.
Yes, he will. He's going to have a relatively easy time from now on with those shields, on Arthur's especially. Oh, Gorge. Portals. Going to use it in time as well, but it's on Taluf. He power slides away with a face melt for good measure.
If you've ever tried to chase a cow, you know how fast they can run if they only want to, and I think ETC did exactly that.
This is a story that sounds like it comes from experience, and one that I will have to ask you after the broadcast. As we see.
I'm from Bavaria in Germany, and that's a very rural area. And there's a lot of mountains, there's a lot of hills, and a lot of cows.
True. I also live in an area where, without giving away my actual address, part of my area name, it does have the word cow in it. So there are cows around where I live as well. So I have, however, not seen them move at a rapid speed. ETC, on the other hand, like you said, he is quite rapid. Lane line steal is landed. They want to try and make a play.
They try to go for a play. The lead line steal was good, but is the follow-up going to be there? Another good disengaging portal here by Dreamy, and Belgium just can't seem to get a grip on the elusive Danish team.
It does, however, mean, though, that they did burn the ley line seal without too much value. They still lost the fort. They didn't pick up any kills from it. All that was giving them a way out.
I'm just trying to think very hard of potential British province names that include a cow or a town names. Cowshire.
Cowshire.
That's all I got.
Oh dear, Cowshire in Bovine Town. As we do see, please stop trying to work out my address. As we do see Denmark trying to move in and take out that top four.
Exactly. There's a lot of damage available with that Grey main. The strong single target objective damage can never be underestimated while in working form. Most importantly, still a talent advantage as well available for the Danes. They're going to try to take more objectives. They haven't had enough. They want to satisfy and please their fans for the relatively disappointing performance in day number 1. And so far, they're on a splendid path.
They are on a splendid path indeed, as Belgium, on the other hand, though, able to take out that Punisher. They are still behind 2 levels, but they're still in the game. They don't get punished. Oh, they're too close to the wall. You need to leave space for your enemy.
You know, there's only so much room for thick heroes in Heroes of the Storm, and that was a little bit too close to the wall. Also,
that's a weird sentence to say, considering normally you want to block the enemy, and in this case, you must make space for the enemy.
Can you imagine being in the same room with Stitches and ETC, or in the same car even?
Like an elevator?
Yeah, exactly. That would get very weird.
That would be unpleasant. I would want Medivh to get me out of there ASAP.
Not sure how well Stitches can hold his gases, you know, so the elevator...
He only seems to give them out when he attacks or when he gets hit. So as long as I don't
make him angry. If he wants that lollipop, you give it to him. If he wants to play, you play with him.
This mental image needs to leave my head ASAP. And Dizzy Dwarf is going to take the Impalers. And they continue to clear out the bot lane as Belgium are just staying grouped, taking mercenaries and clearing up the top lane.
All right, that is going to be a very useful Fallen Shaman camp. It pushes against the top lane as well, and this could really be what the Belgian team needs in order to close that experience gap. There's a lot of forts still available for them to get, and Nazeebo, I'm not sure if Nazeebo is going to have enough time to really keep on farming, and thus far he had... Oh no, that's...
It's ETC, and this could backfire terribly. Taluf, face melts, a little bit of damage is dropped, and the slow, but they can't finish him.
If that Howling Blast only had been cast a few moments later, these Stitches would have had the perfect Gorge combo, but as such, ETC was able to escape, easy peasy, and, well, they're going to have to try another time.
We do see Medivh here with the Circle of Protection, not going for reabsorption. To be fair, they're not actually taking that much damage, so it's not as much of an issue here.
Exactly, it's not really that much of an issue. So the Danes, once again, in the driver's seat. Medivh, and that is so huge. We can't really discard anything that Medivh provides to the team in terms of vision. Dreamy constantly flying above their opponents' heads. It's so important.
I don't think... Oh, Leyline catches 2, doesn't get Uther. Portal is down, so they can try and micro around here. ETC gets the Divine Mosh Pit as they're bounced around. Even the answer's called the power slide for good measure. The protection, though, from Medivh is very solid. Enabler getting dropped so low, but Anna keeps them alive. Yogbek, though, is still able to take down Uther, but it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Belgium.
The incarnation of the holy cow. Dizzy Dwarf has a word to say about it.
And he's still got the keep to run through. He runs to the keep, gets slowed, and down he goes. 2 for 2.
Okay, so now that they got the 2 versus 2, it was a fine trade. Before that, it was a wonderful holy cow literally the holy cow combo with the Divine Shield on that ETC. And it was so well done. But the circle of protection by Dreamy kept... Oh, this is huge.
Leap Dart was good, but Valor woke up
takes the bite.
And down goes Anna.
Yeah, that was well played. The coordination and the organization by the Danish team this game is just marvelous. Wherever Medivh is, at least 1 or 2 allies are as well, so they can execute a nice portal combo, get an ambush done on the Ana, and Nyman just playing so well. You can really tell that he feels much more comfortable on the assassin role compared to the ETC on the first day.
And he is looking good on it, putting on a lovely show here for his home country and for everyone else watching from around Europe and the world. As we do see Medivh continue to scatter around. I don't think I've seen the pop-up saying Master's Touch is complete, but he is. He also has not died recently, so I think he's doing all right.
So I really think he's doing all right. 26, we see it here. Only 4 more until he has more damage available on his Q. The mana region going to be so...
Ana, though.
Ana's
not a good time. 9 sleep?
That is very rough. I mean, normally you get to see that quest talent completed around level 10,
yeah,
11-ish.
Against Stitches and Arthur,
sometimes even
pretty big
earlier.
bodies.
Exactly.
So
those are easy to hit.
Yeah, Denmark doing a good job with the way they're rotating, staying out of range of that, denying these shots away from Ana. So I really am enjoying that. Beautiful
Leap over the wall here by Taluv, preventing as much damage as humanly possible. It is an arcane punishment.
So no portal. Gorging the Ana.
Oh, no way, no way.
Oh, he got her. He gets the Ana around. She throws Divine Shield. Ana fleeing for her life. The ley line, though, has got too many others. Can they make a play out of it? Ancestral on Youngbeck as Rabio is able to retreat. The cleanse on Taluv. No one dies from either team.
That is insane. The Circle of Protection doing so much work. Normally, you get to see the reabsorption coming in from Medivh, providing healing per damage done on the shielded target. But here, against the Toads, it really seems to be a valuable target, valuable talent.
It really is, but what we saw there was the Divine Shield being used onto Ana, but it meant ETC's Mosh was vulnerable. It was used and cancelled through that fight, as ETC is still going to try and make a play, but the portal is too good. Face melt doesn't land, and we see Denmark in full retreat.
Yeah, despite the fact that Belgium is starting to stabilize at least a little bit, we still have a massive XP advantage for the Team Denmark.
As the Danish team, Team Denmark, are able to take down the mercenary camp here. Like you said, level 19 is available for Team Denmark here, and they are going to try and creep their way towards that level 20.
Now, here's where it's getting a little bit tricky, though. For Stitches at level 20, I don't think we want to go hungry Stitches, because if you gorge the entire enemy team, it could get a little bit dicey. On the other hand, though, what if you just gorge 2 or 3 and bring them all in the backline, getting even more value?
It's tempting, but they're struggling to kill one person sometimes. But
it's tricky, isn't it?
It's so tempting. Shield one.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I see that it's very much a trade-off. They will have to be the ones to consider that. It is our job simply to point it out to you at home.
Exactly. In the meantime, we also see the Executioner coming in for Bremen, and if you have a slowing Stitches, if you have Arthas, that's basically a guaranteed crowd control effect at any given moment, and as such, probably one of the most rewarding, most valuable talents you could possibly get. Soul Harvest, Enabler basically stays true to his guns. I don't think he's gone for a sim for any different targets throughout this tournament.
No. He also has not really died, I think, in this game. He's not been hooked several times, even though there are 11 kills inside of Denmark. He has not been the one who has been hooked. It's really been Ana a lot of time, hides her.
Exactly. And speaking of the late game, we can't forget about Nazeebo. This guy is going to turn things up if he's stacked very well.
We will have to see once we reach that point in the game, if Belgium reach that point in the game, as they are approaching level 19. And Medivh does scout what's happening in the bot lane, as immediately Denmark, seeing as so many heroes down below, begin starting on this altar, on this shrine.
Yeah, and it's so hard for Belgium to really make a move. On the one hand, they can't really contest the shrine because of the disadvantage of level 20. On the other hand, how much can they really do? They will have to stick to the middle. That's the only lane they could potentially get value from. Bottom lane is a little bit too risky if they get caught in the process. Top lane is too close to the shrine. So there's only so much they can do, and 20 is still very, very far away for them.
20 is very far away. Belgium are actually in full retreat as we see Denmark beginning to pressure the top lane, looking to potentially end the game. They're not all in here, as we do see Greymane still working on those on that Punisher, which is now available. And now with the front wall gone on that top keep, there is a serious chance of ending here by Denmark.
They just want to pave the way for the upcoming Punisher. And destroying these wall pieces here, we see Youngback going for it. Very important. That gives Stitches way more space to maneuver and aim his hooks accordingly. Dizzy Dwarf, he's going to be patient here. Maybe he waits for the stun by the Punisher to really land a following up hook.
Landed. He gets it. Slam, a little bit of slow. The ice block, keeping it alive. Moshpit gets so many, but the lane line seal. Medivh cheats. The Moshpit gets no one else, but it kept everyone alive. It gave them the chance, but the Punisher's still so healthy, Kendrick.
Yeah, they completely focused on the enemy team. They did not pay attention to the Punisher. It is now distracted by the middle keep, though. We saw that in the last series, how good that can be. Stitches got another Gorge off, and he's going to try and
gets out.
Aloof. He gets away, though. No, he's getting back in.
Aloof is tanking through it, though. The armor is so good. This is the one to fall as Lenfield is doing so much damage to protection. Will save Rhaegar. The Punisher is just about to fall before it even breaks the shield on the core.
Team Belgium, they live for now. That was a nice defense, keeping them in this game for now. But I think Team Denmark got a little bit too greedy there. Normally, you want to get the keep and maybe back off, but it was so tempting to keep on going because the Punisher was still very healthy.
Belgium refuses to die here. We have that vial infection. We will see if it does do any damage to the building. We can tell, that is how we can tell if it is fully stacked. That looks fully stacked. Okay, that's a lot of damage. As we do see the continued harassment onto this mid keep, attempting to get the counter keep as their top one is already gone. Ice block having to be used by Enabler. The cleanse as well.
Rabio. We gave him a lot of respect during the drafting phase, highlighting his support capabilities, and that's exactly why the ice block, I think that was a misclick, or maybe he anticipated a hook that never really made it, but the cleanse in time to deny the hook from landing.
So it's all good. They retreat back to their base. They've dropped the keep low. They didn't kill it, but it's a start. It gives them an ending condition if they get if they're able to win another fight. And now we're back to this situation of Denmark looking to end the game with a hook, with Dreamy hovering around the area.
It's Dizzy Dwarf on the Stitches. Look at the positioning here. He could always try to go for a blind hook over the wall, and as the opposing team, you need to pay attention to that happening potentially. So never get too close to those walls if you don't have vision on Stitches.
Nice zombie wall, blocking the hook of Dizzy Dwarf this time. Dreamy is around. He has Leyline Seal and that Medivh cheats available. All heroics for both teams are available, including that Moshpit from ETC. He took the Storm Shield, by the way, at level 20, which did help his team a little bit survive that last fight in the earlier game.
Timing, when to engage, and where to fight is going to be crucial for the Danes, because if they fight in the choke point, if they position themselves very close to each other, the Toads are going to wreck, and they're going to wreak havoc in the back line. Enabler on the Nazeebo is now going to be the most important target to keep alive for the Belgians.
This is the best chance for the Belgians. They've got it. Oh, they're going on to Rabio. To Luther, chasing down. If he can keep him out of the portal, he can. As Uther escapes, and they kill off Medivh before the leyline can even go. Youngback is finished off, and Denmark in full retreat. Greymane's not even close to being able to help. They don't even have to worry about top legs. They have the mercenaries up there, and Denmark are looking to end. Sorry, Belgium are looking to end the game. Denmark are in full retreat.
Team Denmark was not on the same page. Greyman wasn't even close, and Stitches still went for the all-in engage with the portal. But Uther is not the target you want to go for. Rabio and his boys, they're taking down the core rapidly. 60%, 50%, and I don't think Denmark can do what it takes to defend it. Team Belgium takes game #1 in one hell of a match.
Team Belgium, they were trapped in their base for about the last 10 minutes of that game, and they were still able to take the perfect fight to take that game, the first one in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Denmark, they look great with Medivh, but outside of the Medivh, they did not look good, and Belgium punished them at every opportunity.
Absolutely. You often got the feeling that they were going for the same play no matter what happened. Hook somebody and gorge that target and always run away. But when it's an Uther, when it's an ETC, you can't go all in on those plays.
Yeah, and they didn't land the route as many times as we would like. They wanted to route to follow up on those gorges sometimes, but they missed several times. And when that's ETC, he power slides back through. So not only do you not kill him, he stunned you on the way out, so you have no follow-up.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at some of those hooks, some of those clutch plays by Medivh with yours truly, Bakery.
So, straight off, it's the level 1. What a fantastic way to start the game. It's the side hook. So, this is 100% prepared. The hook instantly onto Heiser, on the Ana, instantly take her down. And then my favorite touch is look at the portal. Instant portal to lose absolutely no time rotation and keep that pressure up. This is the kind of thing that the coach Youngbeck has had them in replays. He's had them all on TeamSpeak looking at maps saying, this is how we play the game. And in that regard, Denmark were fantastic this game.
Absolutely. What they were lacking a little bit, though, in the late game was coordination. Nyman wasn't even there, and they still went for that all-in team fight, and it cost them dearly.
Yeah, Greymane was positioned very well if the fight was going to take place on the objective, but it didn't. The decision was made, and the portal didn't even bring them closer to Greymane. It was simply a, let's get as far away from the enemy team as possible when ETC was near enough to interject.
Absolutely. Do we have another replay, Bakery?
We do have another replay. We've got the 9 vs 8 on the mid shrine. Now, this is a huge fight, and this is where Denmark start to take control of the game. So, as we see it play forward, Heiser on Ana. He's looking for a pick. He runs in, but he misses the hook, and he gets picked himself. So there he goes almost instantly down. However, Valnod, he gets far too aggressive on this Veigar. He actually gets traded back on very quickly. But wait a second. Look at Youngbeck. Look at the Arthurs. He is literally on 4 people right now. He's exactly where he wants to be. And the amount of value he gets from his Frozen Waste mean that they get 4 kills, and they start off this game with an almost 2-level lead after this Punisher.
Yeah, it is actually insane to see how far Denmark was ahead in those early mid-game stages by simply just utilizing their team composition to the fullest.
I mean, me and you were talking about the crazy AoE damage that Belgium had, but we saw just how scary an Arthur's can be if left unattended and just left hitting multiple people at once.
But who's good in late game? It's Nazeebo.
But I've got one more replay for you guys.
Go.
It's the 16 vs 15 in the mid, and this is where Belgium start their comeback. So it starts off with the ley line, but Denmark, they want to fight. They missed the hook though, and look at Tulif. He gains solo, but the holy cow combination. However, circle protection value, that's number 1. So much damage. 3 members on Denmark get super, super low. But again, circle protection, number 2, keeping everyone alive. Now, Ice Block and Divine Shield are stacked, and that is going to mean that Enabler on that Nazeebo is almost going to go down, but Ana actually saves him. However, look at Nyman. Look at this cocktail. Perfect cocktail. Fucks it off of the ETC. Manages to finish the Uther, and this looks like a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Belgium, but out of nowhere,
there we go.
Gets the hook, and see, the hook was actually going to miss, but for some reason, Tulif actually slid into it, power slid into the hook. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but as it turns out, that's a 2-for-2. Even though it was a 2-for-2, it was 16 vs 15. That's when Denmark are looking, how do we wrap up this game? But what actually happened was they threw it away.
And at some point, we need to ask, is it time to stop the Nazeebo for Belgium? Or should they continue to pick it?
Have we seen Enabler play anything else so far? Has it actually been bad at this point? So
do they pick him once more?
Like, once again, it's such a high-risk thing, being able to get to that late game, potentially, like, either banning it or just going to a map that's less likely to reach the late game, I would be down for.
All right. The next battleground is a little bit so-so, I would say, for Nazeebo. It's Cursed Hollow. So there are a couple